All right, so we're trying to get these trades in and out, and we already have what I think is probably what we might continue seeing with especially the teams that got injured players and stuff like that, is that Jrue Holiday had been traded away from the Celtics to the Blazers, which is sort of funny, for Anfrenee Simons and 2 second round picks. Now, I think it's sort of crazy that Jrue Holiday going to the Blazers is able to net you such a young player and 2 second round picks. Like I was like the second round picks I know was just kind of just good for show, but the fact that the Celtics didn't have to offer anything, I was like makes it seem like okay is like are we trying to really kick up the like what we're doing with these youngsters? You know, you still got Shaden Sharp and Scoot over there, so it's like you're like Danny had a good year, so it's like Jrue going to be that driving force that you sort of need. Kind of like they really don't have any big contracts. Aiden's really like the only guy over then I guess Robert Williams, but not nothing really big. Um, and I guess I'm just wondering like after they had that sort of run, which they did with Simons, is it just like, all right, let's get a couple more veterans in here. Let's try to kick up this whole thing and see if we can make a real type of play-in push. Not a playoff, but like a play-in push. Um, yeah, you just don't normally see a young player going with picks to basically uh, like another team. The only thing I can think of, maybe because even though Jrue Holiday sort of, I guess, took a little bit of a step back, had some more injuries or whatever, he still is a two-way player. He still is a guy that could play really like solid defense, and if you need to, he could play. He could do some stuff on offense. You see that in Spurs when like other people were getting the ball in and stuff like that, and how he sort of like got people in pace. So I was like, if White's having a bad game, you've seen Jrue Holiday still able to do. He just ain't had to do nothing on that team like that. And really with the Blazers, he really won't have to really do anything like that because I was like, you do got a couple young people that you're trying to get them in the bigger roles or whatever. You just sort of need like that veteran locker room type of guy. Um, Celtics on the other hand, I was like, they're not really saving too much crazy money. I was like, this is one of them weird trades where it's like, okay, they got off the books of Jrue, which I feel like the more important thing is not necessarily the money here, because like I said, it's only from what I was like heard is like basically like $5 million or something like that dollars, so it's not a really big amount. But I was like, one, they're going to try to get to lower their money because they're going to be in an apron thing and all this other stuff. But I think it's really getting off of the contracts as such an older player, because I was like, not saying that they will, but this almost sort of seems to me in a way like the D'Angelo Russell thing, where Golden State got him, and a lot of people were talking about basically how at some point he's going to get flipped again. And I wonder if the same thing with Anfrenee Simons is that he's young that while he'll be able to help you in the scoring output now that Tatum is not there, he doesn't give you the same defensively that this team has really built their hat on of like defensive while being able to score. He's really just a much more of a scorer, but he gives you he can replenish enough of the offense that you're going to lose with Tatum. Like he works well, but he fits right in where you got still a defensive team with Derek White, Horford, and Jaylen Brown. I was like, and unlike that, now I would say the other difference is like he needs the ball in his hands and stuff like that. But like I said, with that team that really doesn't have any like Jalen, other than Jaylen Brown, nobody else is going to really like hog the ball. And I was like, I don't really want to say hog the ball, but you get what I'm saying. That I think he fits in there. But I just wonder that it'd be easier to trade him later on. You know, like maybe it won't be this year, but you know, at some point if you get Tatum back sometime this year, you know, it'd be after the trade deadline, but enough to where it's like, all right, cool. Next off season, can we flip him for something? Because I was like, I don't think this is the last trade that the Celtics will have, but this might be the trade that helps them replenish whatever they lose from some of these other places. I think that Derek White is safe. Kristoff, I think that's going to be a hard person. I think you will get somebody to take him. I think it's just going to have to be a certain team. Like whatever the equivalent of like I was like of what the Wizards would technically be, where it's like a sorry team that just gonna take you if you give them a couple picks kind of thing, or whatever, just because it's like. But I think he's gonna stay on the team for now because there ain't really nothing you could really do to him with him. I like Derek White is probably your best trade because I was like, I know people been talking about Jaylen Brown, and people know I like trading him, but I was like, I don't see how you do that right now. I think that with Tatum being hurt, I was like, I think Brown, you have to keep him. So yeah, I was like, but I think Anfrenee Simons will play. I was like, play and be good for this squad for however long they have him. Like I said, I was like, I think White and Brown is really like your two guys that are just staying. Horford is a lifer, so that I didn't even include him in all that. And I think Anfrenee is here until the time being, unless they can sort of flip him for something else. Because they're still a playoff team. To me, I was like, even with this switching them out, they're still basically top. I want to say 5 in the East. I was like Cleveland, Knicks. Then after that, I was like Giannis can always pull you some victories. I was like Orlando's in there. Indiana's gonna look. I was like gonna look way different now that Halliburton's gone for pretty much the whole year. So why? I was like, why not? They're gonna really be. I think they're really gonna still be into the fight. And like I said, you get the offensive power that you need with him. I was like, I think it is. I was like, Blazers, they speeding up their timeline a bit. I was like, but I don't think it's nothing too crazy. I think it's really just about getting somebody in there that has championship pedigree. Chauncey Billups is there, somebody tough nose just like him. I was like, I think that's what that's really about. I was like, that's the least you want to think. And Celtics, I was like, I think it's just keeping basically being on a treadmill and just being able to keep running without any hiccups. So I was like, so it's not. I was like, to me, it's not. I was like, I don't think it's as crazy as like the Desmond Bane trade, or as lackluster to me as like the Rockets with KD trade. I was like, yeah, I think this is probably a big. And now I sort of say it, I was like, I can sort of see why the Blazers really. I was like, I guess they gave up a little bit more for Jrue. But yeah, funny that he goes back to how it all started, basically of destroying the Bucks and giving the Celtics their window. Anyway, I was like, what y'all think of the trade? Do you think that's still second round picks? They second round picks. They make the trade look a certain type of way, But that's really, I think, because we don't think of Anfrenee Simons in all that. Because I was like, he still is hella young. Like he came into the league hella young. Like you got to think, he was so young that he was able to. He wasn't really getting any minutes, but he was there with the CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard backcourt. Think about how long that felt like that. Like we even said that. So I was like, so he still is like young. I think he just signed a contract like about like 2 years ago as well too. So he's still in this deal or whatever. I was like, yeah, he's still young. And I was like, to me, I think he like in the East, he's somebody that I feel like, just like how I sort of said with Desmond Bane, if he became an all-star, I would not be surprised because it's a lot more open over there than it is over in the West. And I was like, he ain't got to really. I was like, he's back to not. I was like, Derek White's there, but I was like, and Payne Pritchard, I know, but I was like, he's basically gonna be. I was like, 2A, 2B, whatever. How that sometimes go. Anyway, let me know how y'all feel about the trade. I think it's a good trade for both teams, really. I was like, really, to be honest, you got to do a little bit of this apron movement, I guess. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. Till then, I appreciate it.